Alex Jones here, back live. Don't forget my new film, Endgame, Blueprint for Global Enslavement, is out on DVD. It's gone as high as, 18 on the Amazon video charts. #1 documentary for a week straight. And Loose Change Final Cut, which I'm the executive producer of. Totally new film, ladies and gentlemen. Just been out for 2 weeks. Available on DVD at prisonplanet.com as well. Not on Amazon. One place to get it, prisonplanet.com, or by calling 888-253-3139. Well, I mean, she's an amazing lady and just very well versed on so many subjects. Remember, for 5 minutes into the next hour, it's clear I'm going to have to get her back up for a full hour if she'll grace us with that much time in the near future. Naomi, continuing with the steps.
Sure. So paramilitary force outside the rule of law, Blackwater. They can show up tomorrow outside our doors to crack down on civil society with, as you mentioned, the Defense Authorization Act of 2007, which gives the president the power to declare a public emergency, federalize the National Guard over the objections of governors.
And it says for insurrection. It says for the American people.
Yep. Yeah, he can do that tomorrow because he says so. The fourth thing you need to close down an open society is to direct a surveillance apparatus at ordinary citizens. And by the way, there's a huge profit incentive because in the wake of the Cold War, the third of the economy that was making Cold War weapons, like Boeing and Raytheon, needed to, they were looking at declining market share unless they could find a new enemy.
That's right. So first they had the Soviets, now they have the Arabs, now it's going to be us. Rand and others have said this, and then it integrates it, just like many of your new student packages that the students get, scholarships, are for this whole apparatus.
Exactly, and they've got, so now there's billions of profits to be made if we hype a global enemy, if we turn the quote-unquote war on terror into something much bigger than it really is, and if we turn the enemy into us, because then they're creating the surveillance and security technologies now. They have lobbyists who sit down with Homeland Security and write the laws and the policies. So, that's why when our organization the American Freedom Campaign tried to get the presidential candidates to stand up for the Constitution, the people who were not front runners on the left did so right away, but the front runners hesitated, and only Ron Paul has pledged it on the right. Why is that? Because it is now expensive to stand up for the rights of American citizens if you're a front runner, because there are billions to be made from major donors who are the telecommunications and the surveillance and security technologies industries. And
by the way, this only accelerates. Once you go into this paradigm of the predatory economy, it only gets bigger.
Yeah, that's really scary. I mean, what we saw, the model in Italy and Germany, someone just pointed out, and they're right, that now there are technologies that can amplify control and terror of civilians massively, or that can be used to liberate civilians. Have
you heard they're now putting in cameras all over, first in England, that shout orders at you, and they have police cars that scan everyone's plates?
Oh, my Lord. I knew about the scanning of the plates. I didn't know about the shouting orders. That's very disturbing.
Yes.
Number 5, because I know you want me to get through these quickly if I can, is to infiltrate citizens' groups. By the way, the surveillance, the TSA watch list and the no-fly list started out 45,000 U.S. citizens. I'm one of them. Many critics of the administration are on the watch list, but it's gone up to 775,000 American citizens, 20,000 names added every month, and these are people who are environmental activists, anti-war activists, decorated war heroes who are critical of the Iraq War.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yes, Alex, is that people come up to me in tears after I speak about this because they wrote a letter to their local newspaper critical of Bush. Their kids get put on the watch list.
Now, again, folks, if we give, and this is admitted, we always knew they had lists. Now they're public. This is the intimidation. If we give in, they win. The only problem is they put so many people on it now. They're letting you fly most of the time, so they put too many on it. Stay there, Naomi Wolf. Oh, I wish we had you longer. 5 more minutes after this 60-second break. We'll get into the other 4 points. Her new book is The End of America. Folks, this is it. They're making their move. It's not a joke. It's not a game.
Waging war on corruption. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Well, we're clearly going to get her back up for a full hour in the next few weeks, and she is hot on the trail. She's learned a lot of stuff I didn't know. I've got a lot of stuff she didn't know. Because it's so big, no one person can know it all. She's a great person and put out a great book. You can get it at Amazon.com, bookstores everywhere, The End of America. And, Naomi, I'm going to send you a lot of these documents and news articles and video clips for yourself today so you can burrow deeply into the whole Nazi angle, but also send you all the martial law info, but it looks like you already know more than I do on that. Naomi, continue with the other 4 steps.
Yes, sir. Well, first of all, I'm very great. I mean, this is just something I want to say about democracy. In a living democracy, this is exactly what should be happening. Citizens bring to one another the information they need to put all the pieces together, and don't just trust the elites or trust the regime in power to spoon feed them the information. Okay, so then infiltrate and harass citizens groups. The ACLU has many lawsuits noting that people are doing that right now. Every time I speak or you speak, they're likely to be state infiltrators, sort of dressed like audience members, basically taping everything you're saying and ready to get you in trouble if they can. The 7th step is to target key individuals. Now, this is when you see people like Dan Rather going down because of White House pressure on his employer when he criticizes Bush, when you see Bill Maher lose his job, when you see Valerie Plame get outed, smearing punitive retributions against people like Jessica Rakoff, a senior lawyer at the Justice Department who said don't torture John Walker Lind. She found that she was referred to the Bar Association. You're seeing people in Alabama put in prison. They ratchet up the targeting of key individuals. Then you get restricting the press. You see things like Greg Palast, the author, being investigated by Homeland Security.
Oh, they put out an arrest warrant. They put out an arrest warrant until ABC got on it. They were trying to arrest. Oh, yeah, whenever he went and filmed the camps down in Louisiana. Oh, yeah, that was in the news. Homeland Security said he had exposed key infrastructure until the press got on it and they dropped it.
Right. Well, that's super scary because, at this point, 1 or 2 or 3, there can be an outcry, but when the state starts to, issue arrests for journalists and you hear of 30 or 40 or 50, that's one of those tipping points where it's very difficult to push back. And, what I'm trying to stress is that a democracy doesn't close down overnight. It closes down in a series of these tipping points. So for me personally, when I read, and this is step number 8, recast espionage, criticism as espionage and dissent as treason. Bill Keller, the executive editor of the New York Times, exposed the SWIFT banking story, which showed that the government was spying on our emails and on our phone conversations illegally. And so there was this White House drumbeat, treason, 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 prosecute him under the Espionage Act. Well, the penalty for treason is execution. And I was reading Goebbels when I read this, and I got, again, chills because the publisher of Izvestia in the 30s was charged with treason by Stalin in the Third Moscow Show trial and was executed for treason.
And then the last two, we got 1 minute.
Okay. The last 2 are that you, recast espionage, restrict the press, you subvert the rule of law, and you make it easier to declare martial law. And so that's where you get things like signing to Republicans in power. It's up to us. History shows it takes a mass uprising of citizens across the political spectrum to rise up. You go to American Freedom, try to purge the civil service, as Goebbels did in 1933. The U.S.
And Naomi, in closing, and if you can hold over, that's fine. If you can't, I know you probably got to go. The problem is that we're seeing the Democrats go along with this too, and so this system's in place even if Bush leaves office. How do you respond to that?
Well, it's terrifying, and this is what we need to do. We can't leave it to the Democrats, and we can't leave it to Republicans in power. It's up to us. History shows it takes a mass uprising of citizens across the political spectrum to rise up. You go to AmericanFreedomCampaign.com on the right, on the left, AmericanFreedomAgenda.com on the right, .org, and there you'll see a 10-point legislative package we have to drive through, but critically, we have to call for hearings, investigate, appoint a special prosecutor. There are 3 levels of crimes that have
Naomi, stay there. We got a break. Hold on.